Hello. I know it's been a hot minute. It's the day after, voting. Honestly, I'm not even... Yeah, of course, I'm disappointed. Welcome to Pennsylvania. I'm not surprised by my county. They've always voted red. I actually felt very intimidated going to the polls yesterday. I have reported it, as is a lot of other people I know personally, who said they went to their polls and they were being intimidated. A few of them said that when they got there and they pulled up their name, they actually got on Facebook and they made a big old announcement, and they said, I need to know if this is normal. If when you walk into your polls, is it normal for them to shout out whose party you're affiliated with? And of course, we all know that's not normal, and we said so, but I guess that's what happened to her. Person had shared a link on how to report that. I had since learned that people standing right outside the polls aren't also permitted to do so. They're not allowed, I should specify. I didn't know that. Honestly, for the last 3 elections, especially to do with him, there's always somebody there, always wearing that red hat. This time I brought my daughter with me because she had a dentist appointment. She was, voicing her opinion to me, not to anybody else, just to me, because she was, very democratic like myself, and I told her to keep quiet, because in our area people are, I've showed you guys before, they're kind of crazy. So it's better to keep your opinions to yourself. Don't open yourself up. It's not fair. It's not right. We shouldn't feel like we have to do that. But sometimes for our own safety, we do. I'm still going to go vote, which is what I did. But I'd be lying if I didn't say I felt very unsafe doing so. I got there, like I said, right next to the doors. It's a 1-story church, very small, no, really bigger than my living room. And there's a man sitting there with his magma hat, and he stands up, smiles at me, and shows a paper at me, telling me to vote for Trump, which I didn't. But I smiled and I nodded thanks, and I go in, and they didn't even want my ID. Like, I had it out. I was telling them who I was, but they didn't take my ID. They just had me sign next to my name. Problem number 1, really. They should ask for your ID. They should verify you in some way. But they didn't. And problem number 2, they saw my daughter, and they started questioning her. Well, why aren't you voting? Why isn't she voting? I said, sir, she's 17. And he goes, well, then why isn't she in school? And I told them, because she has a dentist appointment. To be honest, it's none of their business. Frankly, she could be having a mental health day. Maybe she's sick. Why is it any of their business why she's with me? She can't do anything. This is the man who's actually handed me the ballot. It's not like it's some strange person in the building. It's the guy handing me the ballot who's now interrogating my 17-year-old daughter, who's now scared to death. She literally froze in the middle of the room. One of the other ladies was, go with your mom, hon. You can see how to vote. And I said, yes, dear, come on. And I did my voting. I submitted my ballot. I left. Took my I voted I was pretty proud. Like, I did my civic duty. Our internet went out last night. My daughter said she went to school, and a couple of her friends, or her friends' friends, were bullying her, demanding to know who she voted for, which she told them she couldn't. Again, most seniors can't. They're not actually 18 when they start their senior year. It's very unusual for kids to already be 18 by the time their senior year happens. But he was pushing on her, and eventually she told him that, well, my mom voted for, Harris, and then they started yelling at her, calling her, your mom's a Democrat, as if Democrat's a bad word. And she was very upset. She was messaging me, we've had a bad week. And it wasn't even to do with that. My dog's not here anymore. She died last Wednesday. I had her since she was 13. And she died in my arms. She died in front of my sons and my little girl, who's 6. She'd had emergency surgery last month. And honestly, she was doing good after that. And a week later, she had a seizure. We had her on seizure medicines, but she wasn't able to run very long, and she started fainting. I had a feeling her time was getting close, because there's no reason for it. And the kids came home from they do Taekwondo. My 14-year-old's a 2nd degree black belt. He just got it. He's very proud of himself because it's a military style. It's through young brothers, and they are very geared towards progress. You don't go in there and pay for a belt, basically. They are trained. They are disciplined. They have to complete their patterns. They have to break their boards. They have to do what they call one-steps, which is like defense moves. And they have to do them correctly. They're allowed to make certain mistakes. But for the most part, you better break all those boards, or you're not getting your next, improvement. And black belts, in particular, once you reach that level, his first degree, between his first degree and his 2nd degree, it was 2 years of hard work. Literally. In order for him to get his 3rd degree, it's going to be another 1.5 to 2 years. And he has to pass 3 additional sessions. But they were coming back from, getting back to that day, last Wednesday. They were coming back from black belt testing. They came in the door. My dog has a tendency to bark. When she hears somebody come in the door, she gets excited. And then she just collapsed. It was awful. And it was late at night, so, there's nobody to call. She just died. So, struggles with that. The FBI was in our town. I spent some time down in Sharon with them because my friend's family wasn't getting a lot of answers, and of course it's an ongoing investigation, but they were also being lied to. I don't know which detective or which person had told them this, but the first day they were down there digging in the river that Polly was killed in, not killed in, killed beside, they went down there and they were told, and I quote, "We are just checking the water to make sure it's safe for the birds." It's like, yes, with a metal detector and a scuba diver. Please don't insult my intelligence. So I promised her, like, I'm not going to go down there and bug them. I'm not going to interfere. But I am going to stand where they can see me. And if they want to talk to me, they can. And eventually, day 2, one officer, he did come up and he talked to me. He was very kind. His response to me was he didn't know why they were there, that they were just requested to be there. And then the 3rd day, it was one of those tell me you're not here without telling me you're not here. Or oh my God, I can't even talk. Tell me why you're here without telling me why you're here. And that's kind of what they did. The one agent looked at me and he goes, it's not that we don't want to tell them. It's just that it's better if they don't know the details right now. Because if they know and it gets out, then the defense knows and they'll twist it and all kinds of shit. And I told him absolutely. I would never want details as to what they're looking for or why or how they got that information. Just the fact that they're there for Polly. That's it. And that's kind of what we got. So today is called the list day. It was supposed to be for Deshaun Watkins, but his thing got continued. I found out on Sunday. Apparently the family wasn't told. Because I told my friend thinking they already knew, and they didn't, and they were pretty upset. They've since talked to the DA. The guy is refusing a deal. Not that the family even wants him to have one. But the only deal really on the table is life, which, you know, he deserves without parole. But because he is denied, they're saying that this is likely to go to trial. And that won't be until next year. And I mean, by next year, not even next spring or beginning of next year. We're talking summertime, early winter next year. In the meantime, the family has to endure. My stepson, I don't know. You know, I've danced around the fact that he's not here. He's in a facility up in Erie. It's a treatment facility designed to help him with his trauma. They accidentally left him alone. They're surprised I'm not angry. Frankly, the facility itself was angry at the staff who left him behind. So, you know, as much as I want to be, you know, there's no point. They're angry enough for me. They've done everything they could to make it right. I worry that at some point my stepson will use this to have another outburst. Right now he's okay. You know, he wasn't hurt. But he tends to, when he has meltdowns, he's not a kid that wakes up and chooses violence. He's never been like that. He's a good kid. But he has anxiety that gets to the point where he's waiting for the other shoe to drop. And if the shoe doesn't drop, he will make it drop in his own created event. And I worry about that. I've honestly been going through so many emotions lately that I couldn't fathom doing a video right now. But today is the day where I'm in PA. I saw it turn red. I was disappointed. I mean, honestly, it's not like I can do anything about it. I've made my report about how things were handled at the polls. I know others have done the same. We're aware that many Republicans have submitted lawsuits and challenged mail-in ballots that are now up in the air. Many of them are being heard today. PA doesn't count their ballots until the day of election. So, you know, everything started yesterday, but then with all these challenges to ballots, a lot of them weren't counted yet. I believe they said there's about 1.6 million of them in total throughout the state. And an independent news source, not even like CNN or anything crazy, or Fox. It wasn't one or the other. It was a very low budget independent news source. Had stated that it takes $10 to challenge a mail-in ballot, and that there were upwards of 4,000, 5,000 lawsuits and to challenge each vote. And I don't think all of them were challenged, but a good number of them. So although Pennsylvania is saying this is how many have been counted, honestly, not completely factual. I honestly don't think anything's going to change. I think we're stuck with what we have. I don't have any magical dreams of our state turning blue. I don't know why it happened. I just know it did. It turned red. And again, disappointed. What I'm far more disappointed in, though, was the response on social medias. I cannot tell you if these people are real or not. Some part of me thinks that some of them are created profiles in order to create rage bait. And for those who don't know what rage bait is, it is literally telling somebody very controversial, terrible things in order to get them to respond. The more responses a person gets, the higher up in the algorithm they go. But there is a group in particular that I'm a part of, and probably won't be for very much longer. It's supposed to be funny. It's been terrible. It's called So the Comments Aren't Going the Way You Expected. A lot of times, there's a lot of funny stuff on there. They will post, they will repost, I should say, or share other comments out in the world where somebody is not getting the response they expected. However, today, a lot of pro-Trump have been sharing comments by people who are upset by the election. They're not even saying anything bad. Like one post in particular was a gay couple. They're very obviously an openly gay couple. And their saying was, me and my wife were very sad today. It's a lesbian couple, I should say, not even a gay couple. And somebody took that post and they shared it to there. And it was designed so that way the people in the group who are against Harris or anybody who didn't approve of Trump to go to that profile and attack them. Not physically attack them, but, they're literally saying things like, go back to your closet, you know where your closet is, women belong in the kitchen. And those are the PG things. I mean, honestly, if you want to go to the group yourself, I know the administrator keeps trying to catch these posts and delete them, but there's still quite a few of them there. And it was hard to see that kind of behavior. I mean, again, I'm not happy. Hang on. Huh? What you doing? Nothing.
Thought you were on a video with somebody.
No.
Normally you do hold it out like that.
I know. No, my wrist is hurting.
send my thing to Social Security?
Yes, I did.
Did you get anything back?
Not yet. I won't know until it actually shows up, if it does or not. All I can tell is that if it says incomplete or not, like your brother's. So,
What would that mean?
just that I have to send something else. But it hasn't done that yet, so let's just cross our fingers that everything went through.
But I don't have anything else to send them.
I know I don't.
So that would be impossible
I know.
to get one.
I know. Before I do. Here's my puppy. Okay. And we have a little bunny. That's my puppy now. I can hear her TV from here. So, in the meantime, my kid's drawing. She likes to put that on my door. So, I've been trying to stay off social media just because it's been very frustrating. Just seeing so much hate. Like, again, I'm disappointed. But even when Biden won, I didn't say things like these people are saying. Go cry about it, cry some more. Or, rub it in your face that, you won, you lost. It was just, why? Why do that? Why be so mean? It seems very hypocritical. Aren't these people supposed to be supporting Trump because they share it with Christian values and things like that? Why is there hate? Doesn't it go against everything they stand for? It's been hard. Because I know, like, my neighbors, they're a gay couple. They're targeted. It's not fair. They didn't do anything. Sorry about that. She's very upset. And I'm trying to keep my children's spirits up. My daughter's been feeling very uncomfortable, and so is my stepdaughter over here. they have to go to work today. I'm not real thrilled with the idea because they know what kind of conversations people are going to have. Yes? Huh? Okay, well, I was just going in here for a minute. Wasn't coming for me. Yet she was just in the bathroom like 2 seconds ago. See what she does. So now we're here for a minute. Welcome to my room. Might as well go outside at this point. Might actually go in my room and get more coffee. Today, I guess you guys get to walk around with me. Fun times. So, my kitchen. And my favorite creamer. Because, oh, why not? And this sucks. You ever try to put a pizza box in your fridge and like it's in the way? It's like you have to balance it a certain way and make sure that other things are underneath it, because if you don't, then you're gonna have a problem. So coffee. Okay, back here again. This is the problem with trying to do videos when she's here. Love her. But what she was talking about was her birth certificate. In order to actually get a new birth certificate in Pennsylvania, you have to supply lots of stuff online, especially if you're ordering online. And I submitted almost every form I could think of. And in the end, we submitted her ID. And she's even wondering if that's going to spit back at us. It's like, what more? Like she was saying, what more could you guys want? Did the same thing for her brother. I'd actually sent him the link to his birth certificate. And I said, look, I've sent them everything. But I don't have a copy of your ID. So I need you to do that one for me. Because I don't have that. I have everything else. I even have a copy of the original birth certificate. No. I also wanted to take some time today. It's been a while since I gave a diary update. I was trying to think about the last things we talked about. I know I jumped ahead, I had gone from my 8th grade to my 10th. And the way I met my husband, yada yada yada. So I was bracketing it off because, I had been so focused on, school life. There's school life and then there's home life. And back then, I literally...
I'm laughing at my video.
You're laughing at your video?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Let's see.
talking about simping and why the I is in simping.
Okay.
It's funny.
Simping as in simpling?
S-I-M-P-I-N-G? No, well, S-I-M-P, simp.
Okay. Simp as in simple?
Nope.
Okay. I assume it means bad things then.
Yes.
Okay.
It's funny.
All right. There you
But what you do?
go. I was calling the cat. Kitty, 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 kitty. Yes, I see you.
When I was in the basement, I got smacked with a quarter
Oh,
from my pants.
I see.
Hey, yo. I also got smacked with a penny
Oh,
from your stuff. Do you forget to take money out of your pockets?
how is it mine?
Your clothes was in there.
It's not all mine. It's your brother's too.
Why is there a penny?
I don't know. You could ask them why there's a penny. Because I don't usually keep change in my pocket.
Which brother?
It could have been Alex or Logan. I don't know.
What would you happen, Katie?
It could have even been the baby. Who knows? She does like to put change in her pocket.
Normally it's pennies.
Mm-hmm.
Where is she finding change from?
I don't know.
Couch holds pennies sometimes.
Sometimes she just finds, well, the piggy banks. So,
What piggy?
piggy banks like Eris has.
It's a toothbrush. I don't think you want that.
Well, then I wouldn't put it near her. Kitty, 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 kitty. Come on. Kitty, 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 kitty. Yes, you're a good kitty, huh? Hmm. Is she gonna stay in her room this time or not? I don't think so. I think I'm gonna have to end this video shorter. I swear I spent like half of it just dodging this. So I have kitty tail in front of me as well. Sorry. If it smacks in front of the camera, she's wagging it at me. As you can see. Kitty, 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 kitty. So, there you are. There you are. Good kitty, 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 kitty. My computer is not a scratching post. Blah. So anyway. So yeah, there's a difference between home life and school life. And my era, kitty, 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 what are you doing? Yo, what was that? Okay. Like I shared with my friends, here and there things that were going on at home, but I didn't share a whole lot. And I sure as crap did not share what was going on at school with my parents, because they were so wrapped up in their own stuff, like it didn't work. I mean, my mom found out my dad was having an affair with a stripper, and in her rage, when I was on the only family computer, she showed me this girl's pornography page. She wasn't trying to be gross to me. She was just, I know, as an adult now, looking back, not trying to justify it, because it was totally 100% wrong. And in fact, I've gone over this with my own therapist multiple times. Like, I can't believe my mom thought that was actually okay to do. But she's very immersed into her own emotions, that she couldn't see what kind of damage she might be doing to me. She just wanted me to be as angry as she was. And that's literally the way she approached it, was, look, your dad is with this. Look at this. Look what she does here. Look what she does there. And I'm just like, I don't want to see any of that. And inadvertently, I'd actually shared the same link with my friend, saying, my mom just showed me this website. She's like freaking out. And, one of my friends was like, ew, she's doing this. Ew, she's doing that. And I even, some of the things she said were pretty explicit. I didn't see those parts. And I was like, I'm not getting back on that website. I was 13 at the time. So, not something a 12/13-year-old needs to see. But my mom was angry. And, well, I was, as she says now, one of the only people she could talk to. So, or felt okay to talk to. So I got all the information. In fact, actually, I went to the school counselor once thinking that this was normal. And this is part of that normalization process where, like my therapist always talks about a book that's called The Boy That Was Raised by Wolves. It's still, this is your reality, so you think it's normal because you don't know anything else. And I knew bad things were very black and white. We were explained rape. We were explained assault. I knew that if my dad beat me up, that it was assault. However, if he felt he was mad at me for something I did, that in my brain wasn't assault back then. It was a discipline. It was, I did something to deserve it. He's not beating me up because he wants to beat me up. He's beating me up because I did something that he thinks is wrong. Same with my mom. In fact, I think I've talked about this incident, but the time I came into the door and my mom had thought what I had said was, I hope you go back to work, which honestly, that's not what I said. I can't even remember what I had said, honestly, but I know it wasn't that. And she turned around and she looked at me as I was coming in the door, and it was one of those doors where we were coming in from the outside and the door swung open. So when it shut, my back was to it. Now I can't get it open. She turned around and looked at me and she said, did you tell me to go back to work? And I said, no. And I gave her a look like, what? And she attacked me. She was literally punching me and kicking me. And I got down on the floor and I was holding my hands up like, oh my God, what I do? My sister was there. I was begging for her help. And she stood there. She looked scared. So it's not like she didn't help because she didn't want to. It looked like she was frozen. And my mom just kept she kept kicking me. When I got down on the floor, it was in the corner. I couldn't get out the door. The door swings the wrong way. There was no way for me to open it and get out. So, why would I share anything with them when that's what's happening? You know, it didn't, like, I felt like I couldn't even do anything right. Get my grades. If it was a C, it should be a B. If it was a B, it should be an A. And if it was an A, it should be an A+. It was never, it didn't matter what I had. I actually had my 8th grade math where it was literally an above math grade. Like, it was over 100%, where some kids would say, you know, share some points with me. And we would have to calculate our own grade. And I was 100% plus because I had done all the bonus work on top of it. Think my parents cared? No. Nope. It was always, well, you should do that well. Thanks. There's never really any, you know, no real praise. Like, I think they thought what they were doing was praise, but the way they said things was like, you shouldn't want makeup because you're already pretty. It's like, I don't feel very pretty. You shouldn't want a boyfriend because you don't need one that's just going to take up your time. Or you shouldn't want to go out with friends because you should be focusing on your schoolwork. And your grades should be better because you're smarter than that. So you must be acting dumb right now. So I think they thought that was a way of encouragement. Obviously, it wasn't. So don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to justify what they did. It's just the way my thinking was back then. I didn't think what they were doing was wrong. And, you know, school life wasn't any easier. And so I had these 3 people in my class who I confided in. And then I got to 9th grade. And I'll tell you what, that incident with the boy and the dance, I was done with him. That year, I'd actually never shared a class with him before. I only had him as my grandmother's neighbor. And that is how we communicated back then. But, and then I saw him in the hallway, and then we did share band together. He'd actually quit before we got to the high school, but I was still in marching band. I didn't do the flag line like I wanted, because like I think I'd said before, my mom wanted me to do baton, and the flag line was just a piss poor excuse for not being in baton, was the way she put it. So I stuck with my band. I played the flute, you know, and back then American Pie was coming out, and of course, I got that all the time too. It's a funny movie, but it's not so funny when you play the flute, because especially when you're already kind of outcasted, it's an easy one for people to pick at. So that year, I took biology, and he was actually in the same class as me. It was kind of the first time I just kind of was like, I'm done. I'm done being, like, I wasn't even done being nice, but I was done acknowledging him at all. And there wasn't enough seats in the classroom for us. Normally, the school usually has pretty good sized classrooms, and, you know, teacher to student ratios pretty well, but in this class in particular we had too many, and they were, well, it's a biology class, so they have those classic desks where there's, you know, for doing labs, so you can only really sit 2 people to a table, and he put us in alphabetical order. Now, his last name was A, my last name was an S, so I ended up being one of those kids without a desk of my own. So he recycled back to the front, and he put me right next to him. And he told me I had to turn my chair and sit catty corner with, like, looking dead in the eyes. Like, no room between us. I flipped my binder over. And I know this might sound really stubborn, but I didn't care. I literally flipped my binder over, which was a flat type binder, and that was my desk. And I'm not kidding you when I say I used it the entire fucking year. At one point, the teacher even came up to me and he said, hey, you know this kid? He doesn't bite. And I said, I know. That's fine. I want to do it this way. He's like, well, you could still use the desk. And I was like, nope, I'm good this way. No, I wasn't doing it. One point, he asked me, this kid asked me for a pencil. I didn't like throw it at him, and I didn't tell him no. But I just picked it up and, like, I wouldn't even look at him. I literally would stare at the front. It was like, I dreaded that class because I knew I had to deal with him. So I learned to disassociate and just focus on him, not him, who was like literally like right here. And that's how I dealt with my biology class. I focused on the work. My lab partner, thank God, was not him. It was another girl who was actually older than me. I don't know why, but she was in biology much later. But her brother actually was one of those kids that got bullied all the time because their last name was McCracken. And you could just imagine the names they got. And his complexion wasn't the greatest. So it was that pizza face type attitude towards him and his sister. I mean, I didn't mind him so much. He seemed like a good kid. He had some weird ideas. He used to tell me, you know, when he got older, what he wanted to do was be a therapist. And I said, well, why? And he said, because then I can work for the Oval Office and be therapy for the president and get him to do what I want. And I was like, okay. Honestly, that's not what happened. But it was still a funny concept that he had. Which, you know, it was interesting. It wasn't, I'm going to grow up and be a famous author or anything crazy. It was literally, I want to be a therapist so I can work for the president. What? But his sister, her mentality was very different as well. But I liked her as a person. She seemed like a nice person. So she was my lab partner, and I was grateful for that. Especially when it came to dissections, because I didn't want to do them, and she was just fine with it. So I'd categorize, and she would do the cutting, because I did not want to do that. I lost my friend at the end of that year. I shouldn't even say at the end of that year. It was more like middle of the next year. And I regret pushing through a lot of her homework because I was afraid of losing her. I did her work for her. Again, I think I've said this before, I wasn't really thinking about, you know, it's not helping her educationally because I'm a kid and I just want my friend with me. But when she moved, and she moved to a different school district and they tested her, by the time she got there, I mean, she was supposed to be a junior, and they pushed her all the way back down to 8th grade level. So by the time she was a senior, she was 21. To this day, she's very childlike. I had a little bit of a controversy with her, especially when she had her son. Because the boy who was the father was like 5 years difference from her, and I mean younger. She couldn't understand why his mother had a problem with her, and I kept trying to remind her that she is an adult. And I was amazed, but then again, the age of consent in Pennsylvania is 16, and he was 16. But that poor kid that she had, his father almost completely denied him. Same with his grandma. And then his mom was not very parenty material. He's actually my stepdaughter's age now. 19. And he's got some problems. I remember when he was little, he was fun, but he was always sad. In fact, one time we'd lost touch, and she'd called me out of the blue, and she said that her mother was throwing her out. And I got scared for her because I knew the little boy, and it was, I think it was July. I was actually pregnant with my third child, and she's telling me this sad story, and I'm like, I'll go and pick you up. Where are you at? And I go there. I go to get her. There's no boy. I'm looking at her like, where's your son? Oh, he's with my mom. Why? Well, I figured I'll get a place and then I'll go back and get him. Which I told her, like, no way you just did that. Because he was like 7, 8 years old. And I just was like, okay. Maybe this is just something she's not dealing with correctly, or maybe she panicked. I don't know. I told her I had to go to an OBGYN appointment for my pregnancy, and I invited her to come with me. And then when we got to the office, I shit you not, she went up to the front desk, and she recognized the girl behind the front desk as somebody who had went to school with her in the other school. And they said, well, hey, what you doing? She goes, oh, I left home. I'm just kind of staring at her like, what? Oh, yeah, I was doing an X-rated drawing of a furry on my mom's computer, and she deleted it because she was afraid my son would get a hold of it. So, we got into an argument, and I packed up my stuff and I left. So then was like, wait, you weren't kicked out. And frankly, I knew the computer she was talking about. There was only one. And the little boy, he plays games on it all the time. So I think her mother was justified in deleting the picture that he could have gotten a hold of. And she abandoned her child over that. I was pretty mad. I didn't say anything. The final straw, was when I got home with her and my husband and I were sitting together. She gets a phone call. She doesn't answer it because it's her mom's number. There's a message. She's listening to it. Then she smiles. And she puts it on speaker. And she repeats it. It's her son. He's crying. Mommy, why did you leave me? Why don't you come back? I miss you. I really would like to see you. Can you please talk to me? I love you. And you know what she's doing? Oh, look, he loves me so much. And I was like, I just looked at my husband and I said, get her out. Get her out. Get her out. I can't. I actually went to the hospital that night because I was just so worked up. Like, you used me. You abandoned your child, and now he's a show-off method. It's not even that you give a shit about him. So my husband told her, you gotta go. And he used the excuse that I was in the hospital because we weren't really sure how to approach this, really. How do I just tell her, get the fuck out of my house? Because literally those were the words that I wanted to say. But I was having a real hard time with it because I don't usually say that to anybody. But in my head, it was get the fuck out of my house. Like, you abandoned your child. You didn't get kicked out. Your mother didn't do shit to you. You did it to yourself. And you abandoned your child over a drawing. And he's not even worth enough to answer the phone or call him back. He's a show-off thing of, he's a thing. To this day, she's still the same. In fact, actually, she started a GoFundMe once and actually put it on Facebook, which I was shocked. Because she put it up there and she had met a man online from Britain, brought him over here, married him, but she couldn't get his papers approved to make him, now American. And she put up a GoFundMe saying, I need help because I'm a 14-year-old trapped in a 30-year-old body. I was just, what? 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 Like, you are the reason why people who are transgender get made fun of. Right there. Right there. I mean, she didn't even really have a bad home life. Her mom was overwhelmed. You know, she was a bit controlling at times, but she was a good mom. I thought she was a good mom. I knew her for years. I mean, there was the time where this same friend ran off with a 33-year-old, which, again, I wasn't told. I knew about rape. I didn't understand what statutory rape was because nobody really explained that one to me. And so when she said she was running off to meet this 33-year-old at a hotel, I mean, honestly, she was 16. So in the end, I mean, nothing was even done. But I didn't think anything of it because I knew she was going willingly. There was no forced or anything. She was making the arrangements. I do regret not telling somebody ahead of time, but how would I even know what to do when nobody's explaining these things? It didn't register in my brain. Because the way we're taught growing up, I mean, a lot of people have a problem with the way kids are taught today because they think there's too much information given out. However, if I was given a lot of this information back then, maybe I would have made different decisions. But I was given very basic information. We talked about forcible rape, and we talked about assault. We were not told what the difference between child abuse, what the difference between statutory rape, the age of consent, things like that. None of that came out. In fact, actually, when they would teach us even mental health, that year in particular even, they had us watch a video once about bulimics and anorexia. And literally in the video is a girl explaining that her way of getting around the system was she would eat toilet paper. So she would feel full but not have any carbs. To the school, they think, hey, this is a great way to explain anorexia and bulimia. Next thing I know, my friend is in the psych ward. And I'm not even talking about these friends. It's a completely different friend. Because she was skinny as a stick, but she still called herself fat. She was skipping lunch. My friend who's the aunt of Polly Likens and I were trying to pressure her a little bit to eating a little bit. But she wasn't, and then one day she didn't come to school anymore. We didn't know that she was put in the psych ward, and what she told us when she came out, I mean, she was huge after that. I mean, that probably wasn't the greatest way for the hospital to handle that, telling her she needed to gain, like, excess amount of weight before they would release her. But when she did, and she came back to school, and we talked about it, she said, that video taught me how to not eat. And I was like, what? She's like, well, yeah, well, when they put me in the psych ward, all I did was go in the bathroom and eat the paper towels. She said, that way, I didn't feel like I needed to eat. And she did that for weeks. Miracle she didn't die. Even Red Ribbon Week. My father OD'd. He OD'd on heroin. I never told my daughter that. And so when she went to Red Ribbon Week, they discussed cigarettes being in the drug category. Now, they are drugs. However, my daughter only saw my father smoking. So she came home crying, thinking that my dad had died from cigarettes. That had killed him. Because I never told her that he OD'd on heroin, because at the time, she was in 5th grade. And I mean, like, this was 5th grade, she's in Red Ribbon Week. I don't expect that kind of response. When my father had actually died, let me think, she was 7. How do you tell a 7-year-old that your grandpa's dead because of heroin? You don't. They don't even know what heroin is. So, you know, my entire 9th grade and up until I met my husband at the end of the year was I would go to the guidance counselor and I'd discuss my parents are having this problem. I'm in court for this problem. You know, I have to go for another protection order. And they looked at me funny. And the one time she actually asked me, how do you know all this stuff? And it was kind of like, what do you mean? Am I not supposed to? Are you going to ask me how I know all this stuff as if it's weird and then not tell me that it's not normal? Because they're acting like it's not normal, but to me it is. I felt very alone. I even had a Springer Spaniel for a short time. She got hit by a car. My father had found her on the side of the road because we had a Labrador and he was very good at pushing doors open. And they got out and she died. I was pretty devastated. And I was hurt when I went to school the next day and I had nobody really to talk to about it. And there was one teacher I felt safe to talk to. And I waited until class was over and the kids were leaving and I asked to talk to her. And so I talked to her. Apparently one of the kids who was friends with that boy that I had a problem with, he overheard the conversation. And she was really nice to me. She even gave me a candy bar. She talked to me about her dog dying. And then I went to gym, the next class where the same boy was in. And I mean, not the one I had the problem with, his friend who'd overheard the conversation. He's sitting like the bleachers. He's sitting 3 bleachers up from me. He's giggling with his friends. Like I wasn't paying much attention until I heard my name. And you hear your name and you're just like, huh? It's kind of an automatic response. Sometimes like I would ignore it because I was one of 8 in my class. So I usually didn't think they were talking about me, but he was really close enough. And he was laughing. And he said, she's so poor. She probably had to break its legs to fit it into a shoebox before they buried it. It was like, wow, how cold can you be? And these are the kind of boys I had to contend with. And, my mom wondered why I didn't like any of them. It's like, who would like any of them? Like, cold, unfeeling kids. I mean, if they felt anything, they never showed it. And if I cried, well, God help me. So I kept things to myself. And I focused on getting through the year. That was also the year of 9/11. That was a fun time. It was 3rd period for me, and that was the same teacher that I had this conversation with about my dog. It's an English class. And this kid busted in the room and started yelling, this plane had hit the towers. And apparently he's a bit of a jokester. So the teacher was like scared, like she's spooked because he busted in the room. Bam! And the door slams against the wall. And she's just, whoa, what are you doing? And he's like, the planes had hit the towers. And she's like, get the fuck out of my classroom. Like, you never even heard her swear before. But she was just like, what? Get out.
I just saw a really cool car. Did it pull in our driveway?
No, it left.
No, come back. I like your car. Can we steal it?
No. Because that's bad.
Mother.
You don't even have your license, man.
I know.
Then go practice and maybe you can have a license, not the car. See, I knew she wouldn't be able to make it. I was trying really hard to get through this. Anyway, so are you serious? Who is beeping? I guarantee there's a dog on the road. No. It's my mailman. Why is he beeping? Weird. I'd have to step outside. Oh no. Don't tell me one of the dogs is out. Yes. Yep. It is. Oh, and we have police officers driving by at the same time. And you know what they do? They keep going. There's a dog on the road, and they keep going. Figures. See, little dog running towards the road. No dog. My landlord's over there actually. He's pulling down the flag. That's probably why he has the dog out running around. However, a doggy likes to run across the road. I just hope my landlord catches him. Anyway, so so when the Twin Towers happened, it didn't seem real. I didn't really even know it was real until I got to the next period, and now thinking back, I feel like I have talked about this before, where there was another girl in the classroom and she was wearing a Manhattan skyline shirt, and it was my art class, and he had the radio on. I had seen everybody standing up by the library, which had a big old screen TV. I couldn't figure out what they were looking at, but that's what they were looking at. And I had gone on to my art class, and so I'm listening to the radio, and they start talking about the first tower falling, and one of the kids taps her on the shoulder of the girl with the skyline on, and they say, well, now you're going to have to X out one of the buildings. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to have to X out one of the buildings because now there's only one. And then the second one falls. And they told her, now you got to throw the whole thing away. And her response to that was, oh no, well now it's worth money. They're never going to make another show like this again. I can't. This girl actually was a really nice girl. So it was pretty shocking to me to hear her say that.
Does mail get dropped off every day?
Yes, mail gets dropped off every day, and that's not why he was beeping.
Why is he beeping?
Because the dogs.
They're not out.
Yes, they are.
He's got orange thing in the middle of his yard.
Something Joe's dealing with.
He took it down.
Yeah.
Oh, the little shit is out.
Yeah.
The smaller one.
Mm-hmm.
That's fully grown now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like these.
It
It
doesn't
was
like...
all over me, excited to see me when it was a puppy. Now it wants nothing to do with me.
Yeah, I know. So does Smokey.
Huh?
So does Smokey. Smokey doesn't want to deal with anybody.
That is just,
I should probably wrap this up. Because, in the next 5 minutes, she's going to come out again. But, like I said, I was pretty shocked to hear that from her, because normally she's a pretty nice girl. She is very hippie-ish. So that was pretty cold. I went home and I cried because, my dad worked in Pittsburgh, and I had known that the one that crashed into PA had done its U-turn over Pittsburgh. And of course we didn't know where it was going. And my dad was in the high-rise, one of the high-rise buildings. And I was scared that despite all my dad's bullshit, it's not like I wanted him to die. I couldn't understand it. I know a lot of people couldn't. And then I couldn't understand the hate that followed. Like, it was just like, you see this repeated pattern. It's happening again today. Again, I'm disappointed by the election. Not a surprise. There is no reason to think that this gives justification to hurting another person. People who are openly gay in the rainbow community, our rainbow friends. Because anytime I try and say LGBTQ, I'm tongue-tied with it. So just, that group, they're not bad people. They're not. They don't deserve that kind of hate. And that's the kind of hate I see today. When the Twin Towers fell, it was a bias towards, other groups that may have been a little bit into the Indian or the Arab community. I know a lot of people know of System of a Down. I believe, sorry if I'm wrong about this, but in my past experience, I believe they're a Muslim rock band. And, you never saw any music come out of them anymore. They're good songs, too. But the hatred, the bigotry, it's insane. Like World War II. They put all the Japanese in those camps within the U.S. They'd said it was for their safety from the American people, and it was no different than the friggin' Nazis. You were treated just as badly. Maybe not just as badly. But it wasn't okay. You don't seclude those people just because the Americans don't want to, tolerate it. Him winning the election, he said some things, but it's almost like these people today that I have seen personally are using it as an excuse. They're acting as though this has given them permission to go after these people. And, I was hurt. And of course, if I tried to stand up for any of them and I said, stop bullying them, this isn't fair. They didn't do anything to you. They're not even saying anything mean. They're just saying they're sad. Well, what does that got to do with you? Why does that justify that you can attack them and call them names and tell them to go back to their closet? What is wrong with you? Do you have nothing better to do than go after them? The moment I say that, you're a liberal. I had somebody say to me, quit acting like you're the victim in this community. And I was like, what? They were assuming I was a lesbian or a gay person. And I said, no, what does it matter? 2, I'm not. And 3, I know plenty of people who are, and frankly, Polly is, Polly was gay. And you see people being dicks about the fact that he died and trying to classify him as whatever when he's actually just a gay teen who was murdered. I just can't sometimes. Now I gotta hang up because I can't do it.
Has Dad called yet?
No.
Why'd you have your phone like that?
Because I told you why. I'm gonna wrap this up because I need to put this phone down before she drives me nuts. Plus, I have some customers I need to talk to for my own business. But if you're dealing with the election today, try to avoid Facebook or Twitter or any of those things. There's a lot of, like I said, I can't tell if they're real or not. I believe parts of those profiles are rage baiters. They're just saying things to make you upset. That's all they want to do. Reach out to friends who are like-minded. If you feel you need to say something, say something. Oh my God.
Yeah, I saw the voting numbers.
Okay. Yeah, they're changing here and there.
Horrible. I want her, not him.
So, as I was saying, if you have mental health treatment or you have a therapist that you need to talk to, do it. Like-minded friends would be a good thing. Doing something for yourself right now. You know, if you don't feel safe to go out into your community, don't. At least not today. If you don't feel safe in the next couple days, I mean, the hype will die down. I'm sure we're going to have some days where it's going to be rougher than others. But hang in there. We'll get through this. We always have. We did it the last time. We can do it again. And as they say, this too shall pass. Be supportive of one another. Ignore the ones who are trying to hurt you. And if you can't ignore them, report them. Because, I mean, if they're seriously making some nasty threats and making you feel unsafe, you have the right to report them. 100%. Don't be afraid to do so. Honestly, I reported my poll. I got an email back from our DA who I'm not real thrilled with. So, you know, I rolled my eyes at that and when he wrote, "Oh, we'll investigate this." I'm like, yeah, sure you will. If he does, he does. I'm not holding my breath. I'm not. So reach out to the people you need to. Take a moment for yourself. Remember, some people are out there just to hurt. I don't understand them. I doubt you do either, because it doesn't make sense. But I'm not even going to tell you to be the bigger person. But I guess do what's best for you today, this week, this month, these next 4 years. Do what is best for you. Remember what today is. Like I said, today for me is, I dealt with this morning, and now I'm going to go back to work and listen to my stepdaughter complain all day, and be supportive and remind her the same thing. If you need to reach out to your therapist, reach out to your therapist. If you need to reach out to like-minded people, do so. Remember, people are rage baiters out there, and even try to find something funny. Personally, for me, I like that Twitch streamer, Queso. He's encouraged. He's not encouraged, but he's one of the main reasons why my son wants to be a streamer himself, and I am contemplating letting him, because he already has trouble with socializing. This might actually help. So I'm going to focus on that too, keeping them happy. Maybe get KFC. Comfort food. It's a good time. You're allowed to grieve this loss. Don't let anybody tell you different. Don't let anybody make you feel bad for actually feeling today. Because you're allowed. You're allowed to feel bad. You're allowed to. So, you guys take it easy. Y'all matter. Remember that one. It's always a big one. People forget that part, but you do. You matter. You count. And your opinion did matter. Matters to a lot of people. Even if other people don't think so, I promise you it does. Like I said, I'm trying to stay off social media, but for the few social medias I've tried, I'm just there really online to tell other people that, their feelings matter. Because that's, at the end of the day, what everybody needs to hear. Is, it's okay to be upset. It's normal. It's totally okay. Now I'm going to cough because I took a breath wrongly. I don't know if you can tell, but my voice sounds weird. And that is also because of, I was getting over a sickness, and then my dog passed away, and it just, you know how it is. You cry, you wail, it messes up your sinuses, and you're already having allergy problems. Forget it. It's a nightmare. So you guys all have a good day. I'm going to finally end this after saying I'm going to end it like 20 minutes ago, and have a great day.